Hey, AfterBuzzers, welcome back. You are watching the after show for Homeland Episode 4. Finally, we have a death. Who is it? Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ah, yes, the Homeland music. It's not so uplifting, but, right?
Yes, after a week hiatus, though, it was still nice to hear those tones, those somber jazz, ornamental music back in my living
That's
room.
your little calm jazz. All right, so welcome back. We're going to be covering episode 4 tonight, and I was wrong. Unfortunately, the Falcons did not rise up to the occasion, and the Patriots won. So
Damn, that was a tough loss, though.
Yeah, a little bummer on my side, but so. Homeland, episode 4. I'm Rick Hong. You can find me at Rick Hong on all social media, and I'm joined by Lesley Corral. Where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Lesley Taface on Instagram and Twitter. Just concise it. Lesley Corral, Lesley Taface. But I've seen a lot of your tweets towards us on Homeland. Been very excited to hear some of your thoughts and opinions, and I am excited to talk about tonight's episode.
Yeah, so we've missed like a week of it, or just like 2 weeks since we've been back, or since
Super Bowl break.
Yep, Super Bowl break, and finally, I feel like the season is picking up.
It is picking up. I felt like this episode began kind of like a sleeper episode, and then all of a sudden, bam, payoff that I didn't see it coming.
I didn't. You know, the funny thing is, I didn't see what was coming either, and I kept thinking, dude, if this storyline keeps kind of going the way that it is, I'm gonna be tuning out.
Yeah, no, I felt like, I was like, most of the episode, I was just like, oh, okay. And then these last moments when Sekou was in his truck, I sort of felt uneasy. I like had a sense. And his friend, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like you, dude. But I definitely did not see that coming.
Yeah, like the way that they shot it, like the setup from when he's leaving the dock or he's leaving the building. Yeah, he gets in that truck and you start getting this weird like, why are they kind of just taking so much time on this shot of him starting the car, and then it gets eerie, and they kind of take their time and before they get into what happens.
Yes, and I feel like this was very meticulous because even going back to his welcome home party, they were like, oh, we got you your job back and you're going to start early in the morning. It's like all of the steps were already aligning for him to essentially be set up.
Right.
For this, I mean, or what do you think, for this essential terrorist act that happened?
Yeah, I mean, because the whole thing for me is that, I didn't see it, but I was trying to correlate what was going on at the party where he bumps into his buddies, and his buddies are like, they're kind of giving him crap.
Okay, so you want to break it down?
Yeah, let's break it down.
Okay, so episode begins. Sekou is released from jail. Carrie's plan to essentially strong arm the FBI works because she got their audio.
She used her Carrie magic.
She used her Carrie magic. She got him out. So he's free to go. They drop the charges. Only thing is he can't talk. Don't talk about anything.
But a 20-year-old is going to do what a 20-year-old does.
Exactly. So he comes home. He has a nice welcome home party, which was really, I felt like, oh, this is great. And it feels like Carrie enjoyed it as well because she always works hard to like make something happen or to prevent something from happening. And rarely does she get that payoff where she actually sees like the smiling faces on the mom, on the sister. She got that payoff, which I feel like you could see it was rewarding for her.
Yeah, like even in the car, she's smiling, she's happy.
Yes.
Sekou gets in the car, he's like, so what happened?
Yeah, and she kind of just does this little grin. And I felt like, I was like, okay, Carrie.
She got her win. She got her win.
She got a win. Didn't last long. So at the party, though, everyone's happy, go lucky, yay, Sekou, you're home.
His mom's happy.
And then these two friends who I haven't seen before, right? We haven't seen them before this season. All of a sudden, they're just like, oh, so, I'm free or I'm not dirty or anything. Essentially, alluding to the fact that he's wearing a wire because that must have been the only way.
Or like now he's the FBI informant, whereas like the one friend is just like, oh man, we're just joking around, or the other guy just kind of just stays
serious. I hated that guy.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, dude? You can leave the party if you're just gonna be a hater, bringing the tone down. He was essentially like raining on his parade, like, what did you do to get out? You must have snitched. You must have, not been telling the whole story, what's going on. And Sekou's like, no, man. And then he kind of tries to play it off. But I'm like, ooh, you're just that friend that nobody wants here. So anyway, like you said, Sekou, 20-year-old kid, he's just like, well, you know what? I got to prove to everyone that I'm still me.
He got provoked.
and he posts video online, basically talking. The only thing he was ordered not to do, he talks, and you're just like, oh, kid, what are you doing?
I mean, he calls out Saad, and he's just like, dude, this is the guy that betrayed me. I didn't do anything.
And then, okay, so then Carrie comes and has a talking to him, and she's like, you know what? We got you out. This is what you have to do. And he kind of acts like a bratty teenager.
Yep. The 20-year-old's going to do what a 20-year-old's going to do.
And it's like, you realize you were facing maybe a lifetime in prison, 10 years minimum. And she got you out, and this was just this one thing. But she got through to him. I feel like he took the video down afterwards, and then these two friends, especially that one that I hate, start talking shit again. Like, oh, but yeah, you put it up. Good job. But then you took it down. What's up with that?
And the guy still has the same look on his face. He's like still just like kind of an asshole look on his face.
Like,
he's like, why'd you take it down, man?
Yeah. So that and that was leading up to the scene of him getting in his truck, which was the final scene of him driving across the bridge, and then boom, explosion. And then from the preview of next week, it seems like it's essentially another attack against New York, very 9/11 feeling. People are going to start coming after Carrie, coming after the law organization that defended him, because now Sekou looks like he was a terrorist that was just released.
But this is the great thing, is that now the show really, really, really picks up.
Yes.
It feels like it's Homeland again.
Yes.
You know, up until this point, at least the Sekou part of the story, as we were talking about, didn't feel like it was Homeland. It just kind of was dragging. Okay, so it's a court case. I thought before I watched the episode tonight, as I came into the studio to watch it, I was thinking, how is this part of the storyline going to play out?
Yeah, and now this kind of sets up, because there's a lot of things that's going to roll out from this action. One, so now New York, the country, is going to be on alert again, just as the new president is about to take office. We can go into theories in a bit, but essentially the person who set this up might have been targeting Carrie. And
oh, you think?
Yes, and my thought was Dar Adal, because now how is she going to be an advisor to the president when she essentially orchestrated the release of this kid who now appears to have committed a terrorist act?
Interesting.
I mean,
interesting.
And on top of that, there's going to be Carrie, her own investigation as to who actually set this up.
Yes, yep.
I mean, there's so many things. And then, you know, we can't fully rule out, maybe he was involved in something. I don't think he was.
No, this is a clear blackmail on someone's part, or doing or manipulated or something.
But I gotta say, you know, it was really kind of like, I'm glad because it's starting to pick up now. We're getting action. But I was sad to see him die, because even though I was annoyed at him for the first beginning of the episode because he was giving Carrie and everybody else so much attitude, I feel like she did get through to him. He had that little moment with his mom where she was like, I'm really happy you're home. And I feel like that he was like, you know what, this means something. And even when he was telling off that stupid punk kid who was like, why'd you take it down? He was like, you got to pick your battles. I feel like he had done a little bit of growing up.
Yeah.
Even in that night.
Right. They did the kind of closure thing where it's just like, bye, Mom. Okay, I'll listen to you, Carrie. And hey, I grew up, and now I'm dead.
And I'm going to be known as a terrorist.
Yes.
Oh, it sucks, man. It sucks for him, but I'm excited for where the storyline's gonna go.
I'm happy. I'm happy because it just I was like, where is this part? And I didn't really like his character, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or fortunately. So it's nice to see him gone. But now to see what the aftermath is really gonna be.
I didn't agree. I don't think I was crazy about his character. I was sympathetic to his character because I feel like, you know, again, as bratty or as annoying as he was, he still hadn't done anything wrong. And what had been done to him was wrong. And so that's why I'm sympathetic to his character. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Do you want to start talking about theories, or do you want to hit other topics?
No, let's do it at the end. Because that'll go into like the previews that we saw for let's do it at the end.
Okay, so another huge thing this episode was the whole Dar Adal, president-elect power struggle here. And then Dar Adal took it a step further and finally just confronted Carrie. And he's like, you know what? I know what you're doing. I know I'm not Saul. I was like, man, he just came at her, like right at her daughter's school. And he was like, and you got to stop.
So then here's the thing. Who is the mole?
I don't know.
Is it the guy, the right-hand man? I feel like it's the right-hand man that's always with the president-elect. I apologize, I don't know his name at the moment. But...
Yeah, I don't know his name either. I don't think it's him. I feel like it's going to be just some unnamed person. I don't think that is the story. I think it's just that Dar knows. He just knows what's up.
Wait, because was it you last week that's talked about the security guy?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, but so we haven't seen him yet in this episode.
We haven't seen him this episode.
So he's also still a suspect.
He is still a suspect. But essentially, and that's where, because my husband pointed this out, because I didn't suspect Dar Adal be behind it, but he essentially threatens her. He was like, you don't know how vulnerable you are. Regardless if it had anything to do with the Sekou thing, what do you think he meant? Like, when he, and then she told him essentially the same thing.
It was a real power struggle. Just like, you back off. No, you back off. You don't know what you're doing. No, you don't know what you're doing. It's just, yeah, it was just like,
it was funny.
It
was really funny. And then, obviously, the president-elect's not very happy with him because he essentially leaked some trash talk to her to the
about the Iran.
The New York Times. Did they say it was at the
Times? Well, they said the Times.
The Times.
I'm sure they didn't want to alienate and say which specific
right before her press conference.
Right.
She hasn't taken office yet. This is all like, I feel like this is a lot of stuff happening before she's even been sworn in. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and she reveals, like, to us, or at least to the audience, or like in her conversation, that the current president and she talked about this, and they're like both like, let's deal with this after you come into office.
Yes, exactly. And then nobody's seen the official Saul report yet, right? They're still waiting on that, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And I don't know, maybe I wasn't like paying attention enough, but did he essentially get kidnapped at the end of the episode? I feel like he did, right?
Well, Saul's an interesting guy because it's like, dude, you go out on this like road and you get in this mysterious car. It's like, dude, don't get in a mysterious car, number one. Because
I know,
it's like
right?
good things don't happen to you, Saul, when you do this.
Yes.
And sure enough,
this guy's his friend, though. I feel like
a tie.
Yes, a tie. We saw him last season. I was like, I know you. It took me a while for it to come back. So they have some kind of past. I was annoyed because when he comes and Saul's about to leave, he's basically interrogating Saul and his sister. Like, out of nowhere, he was like, well, how late did you talk? Well, did you take a nap? Well, did you go for a walk? Well, did this? And I'm like, dude, he's leaving. You know, he's like, no, I insist. Let me give you a ride. And then Saul, like you said, he just gets in the car like, okay. And then he's like, you know what? Your flight's missing. Or what did he say? Your flight's been delayed.
It's been canceled, right? It's been canceled,
you're going to have to spend some time with us and answer some questions. Like, oh my gosh, Saul, what are you doing? Like, where are you stuck in? I don't even know.
But meanwhile, he's just like Joe Cool. He's like, he kind of just already kind of knows that.
He does know. He's like, all right, fine. What did he say at the end? He was like, shit. Or I don't know. He just like doesn't faze him. I feel like, how many times has he been kidnapped now?
Yeah, it's true.
Throughout the course of the series.
He's even tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That was kind of crazy. And then there's Quinn. Crazy Quinn. And, okay, so.
Yes, Quinn is crazy.
He is crazy, but you know what? He's not crazy. Because there's something happening with the guy across the street.
Well, okay, so I was a little confused. So I'm trying to figure out, is he just trying to get himself something to do? Number one. Number two, you know, you and I talked about, you know, we want to see the old Quinn back.
Yes.
And in this episode, you really see him, you know, he gets up, even if he can only do certain things, he obviously goes and picks a lock. But what confused me is when he gets to that guy's apartment, I didn't understand the stool and the carpet thing.
Okay.
And he discussed it to Carrie and said, yeah, but you know what I saw? I saw this. And I was like, well, if you have a stool with legs on a carpet, aren't you going to see its marks? But I probably missed something.
From what I understood from that scene, you have a stool on a carpet, it gets marks. But those marks were very deep. Like, they were, like, ingrained. So, obviously, that stool's been there for a long time, and there's been weight on it.
Okay,
so
okay,
essentially,
weight, yes. Like a camera or...
Well, what I got from it, it was confirmation that the guy in the apartment has been sitting on the stool and has been essentially spying on Carrie. For me, that's what the stool meant. It's confirmation.
Yeah, but this guy maybe doesn't, you know, have a back patio, so maybe it's just, you know, maybe he's a peeping Tom.
Yeah, but it's like pointed right at Carrie's apartment. I feel like, I don't know, it is a stretch, but I felt like that's where Quinn's mind went, and that's where mine went. I was like, well, yeah, I'm right.
So when he finds the guy, you know, next to the mailbox,
that's weird.
Did you think he was gonna get his ass beat?
I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was like, is Quinn gonna kick that guy's ass? Is that guy gonna kick Quinn's ass?
No, Quinn's not. No, he's definitely not in the.
Oh my gosh!
Of course, he did. He was smart enough to pause. He did say, he says like, where are you from? He says like, I'm across, and then he just kind of stops.
Yeah. But then the whole thing, I'm like, if this guy has been spying on Carrie, wouldn't have he seen Quinn by now, and wouldn't he have known and recognized him instantly, right?
Maybe. And I mean, clearly...
And Quinn made a scene in the second episode in the front patio. I feel like So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe.
But the guy,
is
so
just
but the
in
guy's
Quinn's head.
spying on. So here's a key thing. If the guy's spying on Carrie, he clearly didn't recognize Quinn.
No, he didn't.
So
Which I
what
was
does
surprised.
that-
I thought he would have.
Right. So what does that say? So I mean, maybe Quinn is the mysterious guy in Quinn's head. Comment below. Let us know.
Yes, tweet us your thoughts.
Always love hearing the conspiracy theories that you guys have
Is
too.
Quinn right or is he cray? And who is this man? Also, I want to know. Okay, so like you said, this episode I feel like reminded me that Quinn still has limitations. That he still walks with a limp. He's not fully articulate. Like when he speaks, like it's sad because I'm like, oh, Quinn, you're not all there.
But he doesn't. But he's a killer though. He's a killer, so
Yeah.
he doesn't really need to talk anyways, right?
I know, but I mean, you know, he doesn't have all of his facilities. But I like what you said. Maybe this is keeping him occupied, and maybe this is helping him somehow recover by keeping his mind active, not thinking about his own pain or his own misery, and trying to solve some kind of puzzle or thing for someone that he cares about. So I don't know. Maybe that's also. Maybe it's just nothing at the end. And
I'll tell you what, too, when it comes to progress, something that I've done once ever is I've gone to the gun range and trying to put bullets. I mean, in the movies, they make these experts look like it's so easy. It is really hard. It hurts your fingers. It's difficult. So to see him be able to do that on the show says he's making progress.
yeah, and he obviously was able to break into the house, and I don't even get how he got the code into the building, but he figured it out, I guess.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, you know, you can call anybody and say like, hey, I
No,
left my
but he
mail.
I felt like he
or-
did something. I don't know. That guy though, obviously he's a pretty like bold guy. He was just like, I'm gonna call the cops. Like he like right away was like didn't mess around with him. He was very straightforward. So he means business.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, but I'm not that way in my apartment complex. Like if I know all the people in my apartment complex and I
Okay.
see somebody fishy and they don't look like they're, because when
Is
you're
that a normal reaction?
Yeah, because
Okay.
if you're fucking around by someone's mailbox, that means you're not there. Because usually, like when people think about when people come into a building.
Okay, I guess I don't do that normally.
People are like dropping packages off. They're already, you know, if like I saw you come in and I wasn't quite familiar, you know, I'd be like, hey, and you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go see so and so, and he clearly asked him a question. He's like, I had the wrong mail, and you know, Quinn already. I mean,
Yeah.
do we know if he took a shower yet?
We don't know. But
I mean, he still has that rat mustache. And I want him to shave
no,
off.
but I mean, him and little Francie have become friends.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Uh-huh.
she was just like, "Oh, Quinn, have
Hi,
you taken your
Peter."
snack? You need your snack." Oh yeah, she said Peter. I don't know why, but like they're clearly chummy, right? So I don't know. I feel like that made me think.
And do you like how she
Maybe he
described
has-
Dar Adal? She's like, "Mommy talked to a guy that like basically said like he has like fake hair or
Fake hair or paint hair. I was like,
yeah.
well, observant girl. She's cute. Okay, I have to shout out a couple people who tweeted at me over the weekend at Kaleidoscope7, at Michaela Bree, because I've always been talking about how much I love Carrie and Quinn. They are my ship of the series, and I still want them to end up together. I have to point out, they had a little cute moment. I thought it was cute because he comes home and he's all like, you're 14 minutes late. You know, you have to call me. I don't know. I found that cute. I was like,
Oh right.
yeah, because he wanted to tell her, you know, what he's discovered in the apartment across. And Carrie's kind of like, okay, yeah, but, you know, I don't know. That was cute. He still loves her. The ship is alive. It's going to keep happening. I have to give people shout outs because people tweeted at me saying, yes, I love them. And I was like, I'm not alone. And thinking this could still happen.
Speaking of our viewers, and thanks for watching. Someone actually put in one of the comments a couple episodes ago. We discussed the whole when Peter was still recovering about how he wanted to eat canned food.
Yeah.
The thing that I didn't realize that I'd missed in that was that he specifically asked for it. I missed that part of it. So I kept huffing and puffing on this show saying, dude, I want fresh food. But one of the cool things about one of the viewers, thanks for commenting, that they said is probably the reason he was asking for like sealed food was maybe because he didn't want Carrie or the guy watching him like putting meds into his food.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, completely.
So we do appreciate it when you comment.
Yes.
We do read them, and
Yeah, I read them
we
all
will
the time.
discuss them.
I feel like he must be taking them now because he still seemed the most coherent. Every episode, he slowly feels like he's the most coherent from the prior one. So he's obviously taking something because he's doing better.
Well, do you feel like maybe he feels that he has a purpose now that he saw his death or his potential death?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, for me, the way that I look at that is that you do open up a whole can of worms, nightmare.
Yeah.
But the other token is that it feels like a fire to be like, okay, I'm going to stop being depressed and getting blowjobs from hookers and taking drugs and listening to conspiracy radio. And I'm actually get off my ass and try to be the person that I used to be. And
think-
maybe go after whoever tried killing him or you know, whatever. I mean, those guys are all dead anyways, I think, but.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And that's why I love him and Carrie, because I feel like he doesn't really care about anything in his life anymore. You know, at this point, going back to any kind of work is not really anything plausible. He has the, I guess, the luxury that he has a friend and a home that's there with him. And now, that's why I say I don't really know if this is all in of his head or if he's crazy. But this is someone he cares about. So if there is someone, you know, stalking Carrie or spying on her, this is kind of like he gave himself a mission. He gave himself some kind of purpose. Without Carrie, without Franny, someone for him to protect, he's being the protector in his head, I think. What would he be doing? He really would just be down that path. There's nothing for him to grasp on. They're kind of like his beacon, I think.
You know, and something they haven't done in the show yet is they haven't really talked about how much Quinn knows about what Carrie's doing now. You know,
Right.
she could. It's one of those things where it's just like, dude, I'm out of the business. I'm out of the business.
Yeah.
This is what I do. So, you know, I don't know if, like, you know, behind the scenes, if they, you know, we know that they've had like that discussion, or if he still feels like she's still like CIA and everything. Clearly, he doesn't know that she's an advisor to the president.
No, I don't
elect.
think he knows that. I don't think he knows anything about his life, because he was talking to her, and then she takes the call, and that's when they tell her, oh, Sekou in the video. And he doesn't, I mean, she kind of just leaves, and then the next scene it's over. I don't think that that's something that they're discussing. He probably has no clue what's going on. He just knows that there's a man across the street that might be spying on them, and that's all he needs to know.
Or he thinks, right, exactly.
Yeah. So, theories, predictions?
No, we have who else do we have? We talked about the president-elect.
Yes.
We talked about the president-elect. We talked about Dar Adal.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about Saul though? Because every season, you know, clearly, like, you know, like the first couple seasons, it was about his relationship with Carrie. Mm-hmm. And right now they don't have much of a relationship because Carrie's not doing her usual spy stuff that she does.
Yes.
So like they brought in, so they, you know, in the first couple seasons it was about him and his wife and their relationship. And then last season, it was all about this like weird affair that he had with the chick who was like the double agent spy that totally betrayed him, and he shot her up in her car, in the trunk. So like this season now, they brought in his sister.
Yes.
So what do you think of that dynamic?
I don't like his sister that much. Today, the episode where she was just like, you know, you haven't visited me in 11 or 12 years, and now...
Yeah, we find out that timeline, though. 12 years is a long time to have not physically maybe seen, maybe other than Skype or something.
Yeah, and
a sibling.
She was like, you know, and the first time you do, it's for work. How do you think that makes me feel? And while on the surface, yes, that's all in good, I feel like she clearly hasn't made an effort to reach out to him either. It kind of works both ways. I felt like she was very, I don't know. I feel like when it comes to sibling relationships, it's easy to put the blame on one person, but at the same time, she clearly turned her back on him at some point, kind of chose her husband, and they didn't get along, so she didn't keep contact with him either. She never went to go visit him, but yet it's all his fault that he never went. And then I'm always going to go back to the fact that Saul and Carrie and all these people, they have really important jobs. And so at some point, I feel like, okay, he's not going to be the best brother, but the country's better off for it. So I don't know. I wasn't too crazy about her. That was just my thing.
Which one do you believe? Do you believe that he really wanted to see his sister? Or like what she said, it's like, dude, you came to see me because you need to do business.
No, she's absolutely right. She was right in that. But I also feel like he said, like, I mean, yeah, I have to do this, but I mean, he didn't have to go see her. He probably just could have dipped in and out. It was one day, quick turnaround. I gotta say though, I want Saul, I kind of want him back home, because slowly, I love him. I love Saul's character.
Sure.
He's kind of becoming my least interested part of the season so far. I feel like I'm more interested in what's happening with every other character, like Dar Adal, Carrie, Quinn,
the power struggle with president-elect.
And like with Saul, he's so out of the game right now as far as like what's happening. He doesn't even know what's happening, that I'm slowly kind of like, oh, can we bring him back into the storyline and make him more relevant in that? Because otherwise I'm slowly like not that interested in what's happening. I don't know.
Well, how about you guys?
What do you guys think?
Yeah, what's been interesting? What hasn't been interesting? I mean, I said the Sekou part was boring me. She says the Saul part was kind of boring her. So let us know. Yeah, you know, well, so like that kind of leads into, you know, it kind of leads into next week's episode where there's like this big catastrophic event.
Yes.
So clearly, like, and the guy even said it. He's just like, hey, something happened back home to Saul.
Yeah.
So that I would think that means like Saul's gonna
I hope so.
actually get on a plane.
I want him to
come back and figure out what's going on.
Yes. That's what I think needs to happen, and I think he needs to go back to. I like it when he's Carrie's ally, but you don't really know what he's gonna do. Like, is he gonna help her? Is he gonna turn against her? Is he gonna help her, but looks like he's playing her? I love that. I love when that happens. So he needs to come back. And obviously, things are not on the surface what they appear to be, and obviously, Carrie's gonna have to try to figure out what that is. It's gonna be tough for her with people throwing rocks through her window, as we see is gonna happen next episode. And then they kind of set up to where there's like a raid on her house, and Quinn's inside, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys, there's a trained killer in there. Watch out." That was crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even though he's a trained killer, but he's still half man in terms of what he can do. So
yeah, but I feel like I almost imagine like a Home Alone scenario where he can't physically beat them up, but he can set all kinds of weird contraptions. You know what I mean? Because obviously
a paint thing coming by and boom.
You know, I mean, he was able to break in the door. He was able to do a few things. Not all of his skills are gone.
Hot doorknob. Wait, so was it you then that said that you think, or maybe it was someone else that said Quinn is going to put Franny's life in danger?
Yeah, I think a couple of us said that might happen. Not intentionally. I think a couple people said that they did, but I was like, I think he will not intentionally. I think next season.
Sure, no, it's never going to be intentional, but
yeah, I think it might happen.
Yeah,
but
well now, I mean, it looks like it.
Inadvertently, it's not really all of his fault.
Right.
Because if this is, a blowback from the whole Sekou Carrie stuff, I mean, Carrie can only have herself to blame for that to some extent.
Even though we've only seen snippets, we don't really know what the lead up of why her house is being raided.
I just remembered something we haven't touched upon yet. So the president-elect essentially asked Carrie to be a snitch in this episode.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that?
You know, you got to do what you got to do.
You think she's gonna do it?
It depends on her. It depends on, because like for Carrie's whole thing, and even like that type of a job, it's like for her, it's always been about integrity, right?
Yeah.
But you always have to manipulate things behind the scenes. It's like she told Sekou, "Do you realize that person could have gone to jail? I could go to jail." Mm-hmm. So when you're asking me if she's gonna snitch, it's like if it serves like a higher interest or a better interest for somebody,
mm-hmm.
then yes.
You think so? Okay, so I have.
Or it means screwing over Dar Adal? Absolutely.
Well, I have a couple of thoughts. So, like you said, she's a spy. I feel like spies are like trained secret holders. That's essentially like part of their arsenal. And they know that everything, she probably has a lot of dirt on him, but he has dirt on her, kind of what she said. And you still got to watch each other's back. So I feel like if she does end up, revealing some things about him that help the president, sort of back him into a corner, I feel like that'll be her transition from being a spy to being like almost like a politician, because that's almost something like a politician would do, like use something to your own advantage, even though it's not ethical, but it's for the greater good. And usually that's what people think. Oh, well, this is the right thing, so I'm going to cut this deal, I'm going to do that. And if she doesn't, she's staying true to her spy self, who I don't think would. That whole interaction with her and the president-elect made me think. I had a theory, and then it shot out by the end of the episode, was that maybe the president-elect is almost like tailoring her to be the next head of the CIA. Because I could see that. Because she already like kind of threatened Dar, saying, if you can't do this, I'll find someone who will. So
right.
I could see the president-elect, when she is in office, removing Dar and placing Carrie as the head of the CIA, which I was like, whoa, how cool would that be?
But do we know if that's what she wants?
I don't know if that's what she wants, but I can see the president thinking, oh, who wouldn't want this,
Right.
And then if Carrie would accept, that would be a really cool way to bring her back into the CIA, because now she's got the president's ear. But by the end of this episode, I feel like that can't happen because her credibility is going to be shot after, helping.
Yeah, she's screwed.
Yeah, like really the head of the CIA let this terrorist go. So that, I don't know if that's going to happen.
And the whole thing with the snitching part, I just thought about this, is the one hesitation that she might have, because she brought it up, is Saul.
Yeah.
Will it put Saul in trouble? So then how much of a father figure is Saul to her for her to be like, can't do it?
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying if she doesn't, she's staying true to her spy self, who wouldn't. And if she does, it's going to be I don't know. I feel like something drastic. I think it has to be more than just Dar being a douche to her on the street and basically threatening her. I think it's going to take more than that to get Carrie to really sell him out. Like I don't know, maybe something that has to do with the bomb, or I don't know, something that really puts her in a corner where she has no other choice, and this is the best option forward.
So what do you think is going to happen next week?
Next week, oh my gosh, I feel like next week is going to be kind of a concentration on the reaction from the bomb. I don't know, maybe they'll throw in more stuff like developing the storyline, but I think that's going to be the catalyst that drives everything else.
So okay, so I was just thinking about that. So the bomb happened, so maybe that's what forces the people to say, okay, clearly something happened because of Carrie, so now we got to raid her house, you know, because of this bomb. So that triggers the whole Quinn thing. Do we think we're going to see more stuff play out next week with the neighbor, or do you think they'll just concentrate on the event?
I think they're just going to concentrate. I don't see the neighbor. I don't know. I don't even get where the neighbor would play in, like, unless he really is spying on her and he's connected to Dar somehow, or I don't know, because otherwise, like, this is just a random guy. Maybe he is spying on her, and like you said, he's just a little pervy.
Okay, so then we're both going to see. That's in our minds. We're both going to see Saul come back to the States, and he's going to have to deal with this.
That's what I'm hoping. I mean, I don't know. I guess if his friend finally wants to let him go, catch a flight, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Saul needs to come back. I think that that guy, the other lawyer who was helping Carrie with this case, I don't trust him. I feel like he might sell Carrie out, and that's why the whole raid into her, because that's kind of like, I don't know. When I saw the preview, I was kind of like, that's kind of like a big thing. Like, just because she was his lawyer doesn't mean you got to raid her house. Something has to lead them to make that drastic call, right? And
he's not 100% in the know of what she did behind the scenes to get Sekou released. And
in this episode, he expressed like disapproval. He was like, I don't really know what you did. I don't like it. You know, it doesn't seem like it was ethical or legal. And I mean, it wasn't. So I feel like he maybe not even in a mean way, but he might be like, yeah, she did some stuff and I don't know what she did.
Or to even say, I was defending this guy, now he's a known terrorist, so maybe more of a way to say, I'm disassociating myself and saying, hey, that had nothing to do with me. That was Carrie and Sekou, you know.
So if anything, yeah, that'll be my prediction. I feel like that guy is going to be involved with somehow Carrie being in further deep shit.
So then what do you think how do you think the president-elect will play into this?
I mean,
or will she distance herself?
I don't know. I hadn't thought of that. You're right.
Like, did you ever watch House of Cards?
Yes.
Remember the barbecue guy?
Yeah.
And the barbecue guy got in trouble because his son had the gun, and then all of a sudden, you know, Underwood was like, hey, I'm going to have to, like, not come here so much. I can't, you know, whatever it is. So I'm trying to think that she's had Carrie as an advisor for so long. Does it mean that she's going to trust her less now? Or she's like, hey, I understand this had nothing to do with you. There's a conspiracy going on. We're going to find out.
Well, to the benefit of the president-elect, nobody knows about their relationship. It's not public. So she doesn't really have to distance herself but, you know, behind closed doors, I can see her being like, you know what, I'm not touching this. Like, I don't want to get involved. I don't really want to lend help or support. And you're just going to have to...
Yeah, because like you just said, it screws her chance if she actually had a plan of putting Carrie as the head of the CIA or bringing her back into the fold.
That's what I was thinking. So what do you think? Like, what happened there?
No clue.
I don't know. And a part of me just thinks it was his stupid douchey friend who set him up. I don't know.
And provoked him?
Yeah, I mean, probably not. But all of a sudden he just comes and he's just like poking, you know?
Wait, so then do we like that? So we're at episode 4. I mean, we have a bunch of episodes still to go before the end of the season. So do we think it'll drag out to the end of the season for us to find out who the bomber actually was? Or do you think we'll find out in the next couple episodes?
I think it's going to drag out. To
the end of the season.
Yeah. And I think Carrie's going to have to deal with a lot of blowback. I feel like it sucks, but because I think she's going to see the consequences of like little things. Like she fought so hard to get this guy out that more guys like him are going to get arrested, are going to be put behind bars before they ever do anything, because people are going to be on such high alert. And it's essentially going to prove like that DEA agent, right? Like, oh, it's better to be cautious and like take away civil liberties, but at least we're safe, you know?
You know, one thing I just thought about with the now that the bomb's going off is Carrie's always been in the know. She's always been behind the scenes, inside the government, the CIA, you know, being a spy, whatever it is. Now she's a civilian.
Yeah.
So how much access is she going to have now that she's a civilian?
It's going to be tough. And if anything, that highlights what Dar Adal said, which is he was like, you haven't been here for years. You don't know what I know. And yet you're advising. He was essentially saying you're giving her crappy advice. You're not in the know. And Carrie might think that she's got a good handle of what she thinks is happening behind the scenes, but she doesn't. And maybe I feel like Dar Adal always, I never really like him, but I never hate him. And I think it's always because at the end, he kind of...
I always hate Dar Adal.
You always hate him? I don't always hate him. I think I could see it being a situation where right now we're just like, oh, what is he doing? And at the end, it's because he had some kind of knowledge that we didn't all know about, and he was right in his maneuvering. I don't know. But they've done that before.
Right. And is Dar Adal he's still there. I feel like he hasn't
there.
been shot. He's still there. He's still able to play puppet master and play strings. So.
But you know what's funny? When they were doing that whole no, you stand down, no, you stand down, at the end, she was just like, you've had it for 50 years. And she almost sounded like a constituent. You know, when people say like, oh, this person's been in office for so long, or these people have been in charge for so long and nothing's gotten better. Let's try something new. She almost sounded like that. She was like, you've been doing it for 15 years and, we're still bad. It's almost like she's gone back to that private citizen civilian thing because she doesn't know what's going on. And when you're in it, you're just like, well, you can't change things as much as you think you can when you're on the outside.
So did you do the thing? So this is what I did. When she said you've been doing it for 50 years, all of a sudden I started thinking, wait, how old is this guy? And I started having rewinding the clock, going 50 years. It's like, so how young was he when he first started doing all of this?
Yeah, I kind of had that. And then I was like, well, he hasn't been in charge for 50 years, but he's essentially been in it and maybe had high office. I don't know. But he's old. I mean, 50 years, let's say he started at 18, has to be like 70 something. That's old.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she has a point. Maybe someone else should come in, but.
Do we have anything else?
Let's see. What do you think's gonna happen to Franny? Is she gonna get hurt?
Oh, they can't hurt a little kid on TV.
You don't think?
You can do that in the movies. You can't do that on TV. No, I think she'll be okay.
She'll be okay. She'll be in danger, but.
Right, she'll be put in danger, but she'll be okay.
Okay.
Because they need to keep her around, or at least keep her somewhat safe, because at some point I'm hoping, not this season, not next season, but as the seasons go along, you heard Dar Adal say, oh, hey, what a pretty girl, nice color hair. So, like, I want to see how she gets older
noticed that.
to figure, finally sit there and say, hey, Mom, who's my dad?
Yeah. I completely caught that too, and I was just like, he's just like rubbing it in her face.
Or things that you brought up in the past, like in the first couple episodes, bringing up, Dana. Will we see Dana show up?
Right, exactly. I actually would kind of like it if one day they like pull an old cameo. I love Carrie, but I always feel like when she's interacting with Francie, I feel like she's being a fake, kind of like a fake mom. Like it never feels like it's coming natural. Right? I always get that vibe.
Well, it's because you don't genuinely ever see Carrie smile.
Well, no, because even like when she's taking her away.
It's always the crying face.
It's true. When you take her away from Dar Adal, and she was like, okay, come on, sweetheart. Like, I felt like she emphasized that she's like trying to be like this consoling mom. I don't know. I feel like Carrie doesn't still seem at ease in motherhood. Like, she's trying, let me make her some celery with peanut butter. She just
and the raisins, the ants on a log.
Yeah, like did you see she was making it for her when Quinn was trying to tell her about the man across the street? I think that's still something she struggles with. That was just an observation I found, my own.
Well, I'm still waiting to see the next episode where I see crying Carrie face as we saw when she revealed.
I think we're gonna see it. I completely think we're gonna see it. I love seeing
that. Make sure it's gonna be a drinking game, but
yeah.
All right, well, After Buzzers, thanks for watching. Tune in next week. We will be here. There is no Super Bowl. You can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHONG, and
you can find me at Lesley.face on Twitter and Instagram. And if you didn't watch the episode today and you're like following it throughout the week, just send us questions, send us your comments.
We appreciate it.
We love them. We love hearing your theories. What's happening with Quinn, what's going to happen after this explosion. And if there's anything that you think we missed and you want us to talk about next time, just send us tweets.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thanks so much, and you guys have a great week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AFTERBUZZ TV or its owners or principals.